Such a classic. Y'all, welcome friend to the show, and certainly going to be in our series, Robert Jackson, national speaker, award-winning author of several great books. Hey, King.
Hey, how you doing today? What's
I'm
going on?
excited, man. I'm excited, y'all. We decided to come together because he's got some great books that we're going to give away as well. But this one we're focusing on is mothers raising sons, right? Especially with Mother's Day right around the corner,
Right.
and we want to make sure that we make a series of it leading into Mother's Day. And I want to find out from you, what inspired you to write for mothers raising sons?
Well, you get a lot of rumors about, men who are raised by women can't be successful. I think
Right.
it's a myth.
Right.
I think a woman can raise a man to be a man, but there are some strategies, there are some steps that she need to take in order to do that. But
Right.
I feel like it can be done. I was raised by all women.
Uh-huh.
I'm all man.
Uh-huh.
So, I wanted to give mom some strategies and give a shout out to my mother who raised 5 children by herself.
Right.
And, she wasn't perfect because there's no such thing as a perfect parent, but she was effective.
Right.
And there was some things she did good. There was some things she did not so good. So I wanted to put some strategies together so mothers who are raising young men, and not just young men.
Right.
There's some mother with grown boys. I'm going to say that again. There's some mother with grown boys.
Yeah.
You got to relinquish them. You got to let them go to let them grow. I'm talking about 35, 40, 50-year-old men still acting like mama's boys. We got to address that.
Absolutely. And we're going to address that today, y'all. So if you have any questions at 404-741-1029, so that we have some great takeaways as we address the book. And don't worry, if you don't have the book, you're going to be able to follow along. And we're also going to have some giveaways for that. So stay tuned for that. Let's get to chapter 1, because I saw this title, Treating Young Sons Like Grown Men. And
Yes.
I know that us as moms, as I have a son, we treat our sons like husbands or boyfriends.
Yes.
Speak to that.
Well, there's a lot of mothers who are marinating in pain, and hurt people tend to hurt other people. Your son don't need to know everything that's going on in your life, whether you've been hurt by a man, hurt at the job. A lot of times mothers, they pour all this stuff on these young men,
Right.
and then they expect them to be able to handle their kids.
Right.
Now this kid has all this stuff on his shoulders, has all this pain. Now he's in pain because when a young man sees his mom in pain, it becomes painful for him.
Right.
When I see pain on my mom's face, I get, could you love your mama?
Right, you soak
So,
it in.
some things need to be hidden. There are some things that need to be shared with your son, and some things don't need to be shared. But mothers, you got to heal from the pain. You can't continue to find your point of reference in past pain, and there's 4 steps to deal with pain.
Okay, well, spill it out.
Number 1,
Okay.
you have to admit that you're in pain. And that's especially hard for black people. You
Yeah.
know, walking around in pain. No, I ain't angry. If everybody's saying you're angry, then maybe you're angry. Right?
Maybe.
Like my grandma said, everybody not lying on you,
That
right?
part.
So the first thing you do, you admit it. Admit that you're in pain. Number
Right.
2 is you write it down so you can release it from your spirit. People, if you're hurting about something, write it down so you can release it. You got to find a way to get it out of your system. You write it down. I don't care how much it is. I wrote my first book, Black Men Stand Up, about, pain. Number 3 is you speak to somebody you trust. And you can't trust everybody.
You can't.
Some people you can't talk to because some people love to run their mouth. So you got to be careful about that. And last but not least, first you admit it, you write it down, you speak to somebody you trust. The last part is so important. It's so critical. It's called forgiveness.
So
Who do you
hard
need
for
to
our
forgive?
urban
And
community.
forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you, so you can move on. I've been hurt by a lot of people, but I had to learn how to forgive so I can move on with my life.
That's what I'm talking about. So I got to get to the next one before we take a break, because you end up sometimes with this son that, or man, that always got to check in with mom first. That mama's boy. Why?
Because
And they grown?
Because too many moms are coddling these young men. You're not teaching them how to cook. You're not teaching them how to clean. You're not teaching them how to wash his clothes and be independent.
Right.
So then he's trying to find mama. He wants a woman to wash his clothes and cook and clean. Let me tell you something. Before I got married, I can cook. Before I got married, I can clean. Before I got married, I can wash my own clothes. As a matter of fact, I'm married. Been married for 18 years, and I still wash my own clothes. I don't want them touching my clothes. I want to know where my socks are. I want to know where my shirts are. I want my jeans to remain blue.
Right.
So I got to do so we have to start teaching self-sufficiency to our young men at an early age, because we got too many grown men acting like little boys. I talk to women all the time. How many of you dated grown boys? Everybody raises their hand. Well, it starts with you, mom.
Right.
You got to let him go, to let him grow. You got to teach him to be independent. Teach him how to cook. Teach him how to sew. Teach him how to fish.
Right.
He'll eat for a long time.
Wow, deep. Y'all do not want to miss. We are speaking to National Speaker Award-winning author, and let me tell you, he know what he's talking about, okay? Robert Jackson. Make sure you check out, where can we get these books too? You have so much. No More Excuses for Mothers Raising Sons, and I love the foreword by none other than comedian, actress Kim Whitley, y'all. This is a phenomenal book. Where can we get it?
Yeah, shout out to actress, comedian Kim Whitley for writing the foreword. I've been giving her a lot of advice on how to handle her son, because she's a single mother with a son. But you can get the book at robertjacksonmotivates.com with the S, robertjacksonmotivates.com. You can also get the Mothers Raising Sons on Amazon. So either Amazon or robertjacksonmotivates.com, or you can hit me on Instagram, Rob J Motivates with the S. Rob J Motivates on Instagram.
And don't worry, we'll be back with more. We got to talk about some practical tips and strategies so we can foster strong, positive relationships. Because I'm on that struggle bus, if y'all didn't know. I've shared a couple, but we're going to share on how, coming up, you are his mother, not his father, and how we can effectively communicate with our kings, our princes.
Let's go.
Let's talk about it, Robert. Coming out to be your best you right here on Classix 1029. We're going to pray in the meantime. We're talking to motivational speaker, internationally known Robert Jackson, on ways to be your best you today with the book No More Excuses for Mothers Raising Sons. I thought it was so important because, you know, so many of us are still on that struggle bus, how to really let go, how to cut that umbilical cord.
Right.
One being that we try to be mother and father, even when you have two parents in the household. But, you know, you can't be both, right?
You can't be. I mean, if you're his mother, you're his mother.
Right.
You're not his father. So they got these cards going around, these Father's Day cards for mothers. Listen, there are some trifling men out there. I'm not going to deny that.
Right.
You know, my father is one of them. But my mom is still my mom.
Right.
And you need to play the mother's role. And there are other ways that you can fill that void as far as him not having that man in his life. There's other men who would step up and do what they need to do. Uncles, cousins. I mean, there are other folks who can do the job, but you cannot be both parents.
Right.
And that's a mistake that moms make all the time.
Well, do you have any takeaways for us how we can speak and listen more effectively, you know, when it comes to effective communication with your son? Because, you know, my story, I'm estranged right now from my son. You know, it's like I don't know what I can say. Everything I say, I could say, hi, I love you, or just sending, what do you mean by that? We don't try to be nice. You know, I'm like, what am I doing? I don't know what to say. So how do we effectively communicate, whether you're having good or bad, you know, moments with your young son or adult son?
Well, I will tell you this. Calmness always wins, right? Too many mothers come with emotions. Emotions are feelings on the inside caused by pain or pleasure that move you in a direction. Control your emotions. When you come screaming and yelling at your son, he's going to shut down. You don't communicate by screaming and yelling. You communicate by having a conversation with him like he's a human being.
Right.
And finding out what his communication style is. And some of our kids like to communicate on text. Some of them like to talk in person. But you have to find out what the style your son has and then try to meet him halfway. But all the yelling and screaming, that never solves anything.
Well, I know that we got so much more juiciness to talk, Robert. There's never enough time in the day, but I do know there's plenty of time to do a giveaway this series.
Absolutely.
Because we're doing like a 3-part series, y'all. So there'll be more conversation with this dope king, Robert Jackson. So what shall we do? Give it away, how many? 2 books?
Yeah. I'm wherever you want to give away.
All right. If you want to get this book and follow along with us, No More Excuses for Mothers Raising Sons, right now, this is so great. Even for you dads, 404-741-1029. I will give it away to 2 lucky callers, and you ain't got to bust a move. We'll mail it right to you.
That's right. We'll mail it right to you. Just leave your address. And I want to remind moms, affirm your sons every day. Tell him that he matters. Tell him he's somebody. Tell him he's going to be successful. Tell him that he's smart. Speak him where you want him to go. And use positive words to feed his spirit every day. Not just every now and then, but feed yourself positive affirmations first and then feed your son.
Words are powerful, y'all. Make sure y'all get this book, too. You can go on Amazon. You can also go on your website, Robert, which is, again,
robertjacksonmotivates with the S.com. robertjacksonmotivates.com.
Listen, you guys will not be disappointed. And this is just one of several great books that we're going to be talking about. Being your best you, King, is always a pleasure. I cannot wait to come back, a week or 2 from now?
Let's go. We're going to do it again.
We're going to do it again, part 2, y'all. And we may have an event sooner than later together collectively that we're going to be putting together.
Yes.
So hold tight for that and more. Make sure you follow my brother at
Follow me on Instagram at Rob J Motivates. Be on the lookout for events. Rob J Motivates on Instagram. Let's go.
All right, we got a couple callers, so I'm going to get to the lines, and we're going to make sure we're in the wrap-up what you can win inside your Throwback Thursday. Here's another classic. It's Lisa.